Hey guys. So this morning, my phone, it gives me blasts from KSL, and it sent out this story about how the universities and colleges in Utah are becoming more Hispanic. Let's see, it says Utah universities pushing to increase Hispanic enrollment. And I was like, they are? Why? And so I opened the article and I read the first couple of paragraphs here, and it talks about how there is a federal registry to become a Hispanic serving institution, an HSI. And in order to do that, your institution has to have at least 25% of your students be Hispanic. And then the government will give you extra money because you are an HSI. And I stopped reading about that time. The third paragraph goes, there are over 550 HSIs in the country, with 80% located in California, Florida, Illinois, New Mexico, New York, Texas, and Puerto Rico. And I was like, okay, out of those seven, like three or four of those are the biggest states in the country. So naturally, you would have a lot in those, you would think. And Utah is one of 21 states without any of them. Okay, no HSIs. However, there is one emerging, and it's Salt Lake Community College. So I posted about this. I stopped reading there. I was like, okay, well, now I know what's going on. The federal government wants to encourage a specific action based on nationality or skin color. It's more nationality than anything else, I guess. And so they are offering money if you will do this action that singles out a specific group and says, we are going to give the government blessing to them, right? So I posted and I was like, oh, good. I hope that universities realize what this looks like. It looks like, hey, now we're going to be openly racist because we are going to prefer one race over another race, right? And I got a reply back from a cousin of mine, and very intelligent guy. I love the guy. Obviously we are diametrically opposed, I think, politically speaking, but he was like, why are you so angry? And your post is so full of fear, and you only read the headline and then posted because this thing talks all about how wonderful it is that we're putting together, we're hiring more bilingual staff and things like that. And and I was like, no. So first of all, I didn't address the whole fear and anger thing because I'm like, I don't even know where to that's bait for just fighting, and I'm not down to just fight for the sake of fighting. So I replied back and I was like, well, no, we need to worry about, we need to encourage characteristics that people can actually control, like hard work, like dedication. Those are things that we need to be um, promoting. We should not be promoting Hispanic heritage. Okay, why? Because you can't control if you have Hispanic heritage. Why? We're going to go write these people checks. We're going to say, hey, good job. You were born into a family that we say is not privileged. And so we're going to give you money. Whatever happened to earning what you get in this country? Okay. What, I can't believe that this is a conversation we have to have. And so I pointed out in my original post that the left says that the only answer to past racism is present racism. And the only answer to present racism is future racism. And I'm not cool with that because, no, what you're saying is that because there was racism, we must always have racism. And that is ridiculous. No, we can overcome that, and for many years we were overcoming that. I feel like for at least a decade now we have really been going backwards, as far as expecting people to do what they're supposed to do. So let's look at this article a little bit more because I think this thing is funny. um, all right, so first of all, they say, how will Utah gain a Hispanic serving institution? Or how soon? How soon will it happen? And they go to Utah Valley University first, the College of Science Dean, Daniel Horns, who he's been working on trying to make UVU a HSI. Okay. And he says the problem is that there's only 15% of Utah's population is Hispanic. So getting 25% is going to be a real challenge. He says, it's just demographics. Latinos would have to be wildly overrepresented, overrepresented relative to the community at any university in Utah in order for that university to be an HSI. That's right. That's true of the college age population. Now, in 5 years, that will not be true. The college age population will be trending towards 25%. Okay, so that's what he says. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, that's right. Um, and that's not good. That's not bad. That's just a fact. And I'm happy for it. That's great. But why does that mean that the government needs to give institutions money to make that happen? That's going to happen. And if people want to go to college, they can go to college. And if they don't want to go to college, I don't see why the government has to get in there and say, hey, if you go attract this specific race or ethnicity, we're going to give you extra money. That's called racism. Okay, we don't. If they did this for white people, everyone would be losing their minds over this. It would be crazy. So yeah, he says, let's see, I'll keep reading here. Horns, that's the name of the guy here, the dean, estimated UVU could reach that 25% in the next decade. Meanwhile, Salt Lake Community College staff members said the college hopes to reach that benchmark sometime between 2025 and 2028. And staff members from the University of Utah gave the university a 4 to 5 year timeline to reach that benchmark. Again, if you want to estimate just because that's how things are going, fine. But if you're going out of your way, so here's something else. This is a quote from Martell Teasley, interim senior vice president of academic affairs at the University of Utah. He's he, she, it. I don't want to misgender. I'm going to call Martell an it. It says the Latinx or Hispanic population is the fastest growing, and so that's going to, in many ways, happen by default. Yeah, that's right. It is going to happen by default. Continues though, as those young people age, we'll start to see more of them coming to the U. We certainly welcome them and we'll adapt to what's needed to get them a quality education. Okay, great. I like that too. We're supposed to serve our population, right? I think that every business owner around here knows that if you don't have Spanish services available, you're probably cutting off about 15% of your potential clientele. Makes sense, right? Okay, here's where it gets bad. Why pursue Hispanic serving institution status? Okay, here's what the article goes on to say. Becoming an HSI is much more than a numbers game, said representatives from multiple higher education institutions. Instead, pursuing HSI status allows colleges and universities to be proactive about higher education's changing demographics. And here's the quote that I'm going to rip this. When higher ed was created, it was, of course, for cis-het white men, right? And cis-het means cisgender and heterosexual. But now that's not the only demographics that we serve, said Alonzo Reyna Rivarola, SLCC's Senior Director of Institutional Equity, Inclusion, and Transformation. Quote, we have to be adaptive and we have to be willing to change, close quote. Well, yeah, that's true, but let's back up a little bit. Why pursue having Hispanic serving institution status? When higher education was created, it was not, of course, for cis-het white men. That is a lie. Okay? Now, just because it just happens to serve those people doesn't mean that that's why they set it up that way. Cisgender and heterosexual were not words on the radar when higher education was established hundreds of years ago. Before this country was established, higher education was established, okay? It wasn't designed for cisgender, it just blows my mind. So at any rate, I don't want to keep reading this article because, as you can tell, they've bought into a specific agenda, and it's filthy. It is filthy, okay? These people are making assumptions, and that's the thing about my cousin. Much as I love him, he is making assumptions about me based on my looking at this and saying, oh, they're trying to boost one demographic based on an ethnicity that they can't control. That's bad. He says anger. He says fear. Later on, he has a comment where he calls it rage. I'm like, no. When you see evil, you call out evil. And I'm not enraged about that. Can I be a little upset? Yeah, I can be a little bit upset about this because it's not good. You're taking my money and you're giving it to people not based on anything they did. Okay? You're going out there, you're finding them, you're saying, hey, here's Jake Bentley's money. Take it, use it. How about I give my money to people that I see needing it? Okay? How about that? How about the government cuts taxes and stops paying for our higher education? We keep talking about how tuition has exploded. And yeah, it has. And the number one reason is because the federal government has gotten into it. They're they're propping it up. They're giving out federal student loans, and all these institutions, they know that it's easier to get those federal student loans so they can charge more tuition. Why do you think that it's going up? It is because the federal government has gotten into it. Get out, okay? Salt Lake Community College has more Hispanic registration than all the other ones, okay? That's great. And you know why? It's because they're not charging as much as all the other ones. And Hispanic people, you're right, a lot of them are first generation here. They don't have a lot of money to spend. That's why I went to Salt Lake Community College. It served me very well. And it was awesome. And you know that's fine. But the University of Utah, um, and the UVU and Weber State, they're all quoted in this article. You can go read it if you want. They charge a lot. They charge a lot, and they demand a certain lifestyle from you. And if you're a working person, that's just not very likely to work out for you. That's why Salt Lake Community College is so good, because I was able to hold a full-time job and have kids and go to college. And it was hard. And that's okay. It's supposed to be hard. All right? You don't get better by not going through hard times. So, anyways, um, just a little frustrated that pointing out the racism of this article is getting me flack for pointing out the obvious. So, yeah, that's my feeling on the matter.